Good evening. Manisha Sharma.
Yes, sir.
She is also Sharma.
She is. Yes, I was in Aligarh now with Manisha uh, for admission. Lena.
Was she Manisha in the photo?
Yes, yes. B.Ed. She will have her certificate in April. Hello, Lena. I was there just to help her. That. Okay. Yes. What were you saying, Kushi?
Was
Sir,
she with
I wanted to say something, but it is recorded class. That's why I control my emotion.
After when I pause the recording or after the class is over, you can message me. All right. What were you saying, Kushi?
was she with you in Aligarh?
Yes, yes, of course. Yes, of course. And what's the homework for today? What are we going to
We
do?
haven't discussed complete homework.
Okay.
Last week
The
that was
previous homework, you
pending.
mean? The previous homework.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, yes. unit 9 has started. The past perfect. Yeah. Devoted dog, the search. I got really tired that day, I remember. The day before yesterday, on Monday. I taught Monday class in the evening, I guess. Yeah. Yesterday, I decided to watch the match, support the team, and my support didn't go West End. Yeah. Our team is in the final.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Sumit. Sanjeev Babu.
Good evening, sir.
Your Wednesday, what happened to your Wednesday? Remember you said something about Wednesday?
Yeah, I know, sir.
I'm still
But
waiting.
that okay. I'll meet you. I will meet you tomorrow, sir.
Hmm. He told me महुआ का लेके आएगा Wednesday को, ठीक है? Yeah. What about Pankri? Haha. The intermediate class, I'm sorry, Pankrushi, I'm not able to run the class right now. No time for that, unfortunately. Um,
But what about her?
she's practicing. She's
Good
practicing.
evening, sir.
She's practicing. Hey, Simran,
Okay.
Tani.
Good evening, sir.
Hello, Simran.
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Good evening. So, yes, um, we were reading this. Fortunately, a local person spotted Gobi while he was out walking. He had seen the posters and TV footage about Gobi and contacted Diane straight away. Straight away. Immediately, another word for straight away is immediately.
Immediately.
He contacted Diane straight away. This is more colloquial, no? Straight away. He contacted Diane straight away. Okay. Gobi and Diane were both absolutely delighted to be reunited. And now, delighted. I'm very delighted to be with you guys. And I'm sorry, there is a small mistake here. I should not use the word very. I'm delighted to be here. All Indians are delighted to see their team in the final. Delighted doesn't take the word very, guys. Delighted is a strong adjective. We shouldn't use very delighted, okay? You can use absolutely delighted. This is a lesson for those people who are preparing for exams. Some adjectives are so strong, we do not use very with them. If we want to make them emphatic, we use absolutely. We use quite delighted. Yes. delicious, quite delighted, absolutely delighted. Okay? But we do not use the word very. Is that okay, Simran? Kushi, remember, some adjectives do not take very with them because those adjectives are strong. Okay? Absolutely delighted to be reunited. Delighted. I'm delighted to be with you guys like this. Means I'm very happy. Very happy. Delighted to do something. Delighted to.
Do something.
He was delighted to see his favorite uncle. He was delighted to see his favorite uncle.
Favorite.
He was delighted to see his favorite uncle. So, why was he so happy? What was the reason? The reason was he saw his favorite uncle.
Joy.
How are we saying this? He was delighted to see his favorite uncle. She was delighted to see her name on the list. She was delighted to see her name on the list. Now you understand what made her happy? Her
Yes.
name on the list. Okay? She was delighted to see her name on the list. Delighted to do something? I'm delighted to be here. I am delighted to be here. So why am I delighted right now? Why am I happy? Because I'm here. Okay? Hmm. Diane brought Gobi back home to Edinburgh. I'm delighted to have Aisha back in the class. I'm delighted to have Aisha back in the class. Yes. Okay. So, delighted to do something. It's a very common way to write English phrases, delight. If you guys start paying attention to these, what we call them is collocations. This is how we use it. However, you can use delighted that as well. I'm delighted that you are here. I'm delighted that you are here. Okay. And now, Diane brought Gobi back home to Edinburgh. Diane brought Gobi back home to Edinburgh. So, Edinburgh is Diane's home. Edinburgh is Diane's home, right? Did I hear somebody say something? Or Tani is talking to her husband. Right, Tani? She's so busy talking to her husband. Uh-huh. What is going on, Tani? Huh? What's going on?
He always teasing me.
He's teasing you. What is he saying to tease you?
मोटी हो गई हूँ मैं
मोटी हो गई हो
बैठ के खा
बैठ के खाते खाते. Yes, exactly.
फिर बैठी हुई दिन
Hmm.
भर काम करते दिखा
Yeah, this is pretty fun. You know, we call it banter. Banter means, dear students, banter means you say something, that person says something, you say something back. This is called a banter. Okay. Exchange of comments, usually a little insulting, but not serious. Okay. To tease the person, banter. We sometimes use the term playful banter. Playful banter. BANTER. Okay. Let's go to the dictionary and find out more about it. And yeah, South Africa or New Zealand? What do you think? Because they scored 362 runs. Don't forget, Miller. Miller is playing or not? Miller is playing. Klassen is there. Klassen and Miller. 50-50 chance of South Africa. Don't write them off. Don't write them off. क्या समझा? इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? Don't write South Africa off. बताइए क्या मतलब हुआ? Situation सामने है. New Zealand have नहीं. New Zealand have scored 362 runs. So you guys are saying New Zealand. It means you.
रोटी से को मिला
Okay. Got it. But when I say don't write them off, I'm saying don't stop believing in them that they will do it too. Means if you write somebody off, you want to say they will fail. When you write somebody off, you think they will not make it. They will fail. Don't write South Africa off yet. Banter, conversation that is funny and not serious. He considered himself a master of witty banter. Okay, back and forth, back and forth. You guys do that. Husband wives do that all the time. That is banter. Okay, banter is playful conversation, fun conversation. Friends sometimes do this. Okay, I say something, you say something back, like that. Banter. I think this is very important in a healthy relationship between a husband and a wife. Playful banter. And when children grow up, they really enjoy it as long as they believe that mommy and papa love each other. Okay, I think I saw that a lot between my mom and dad. A lot of banter every evening. They would try and tease each other, make a bit insulting comments, but nobody would take it otherwise. The same thing I do with my wife when Aditi is there, Aditya. I make jokes about her, she makes jokes about me, and it goes on and on like this. Sometimes it does become a little serious. She starts crying when I say something really hurtful, you know, as a joke. Yeah. That is my defense, that it was a joke, okay? Yeah. But there is some truth in every joke. There is some truth in every joke, right? In every I'm just kidding or I was just kidding, there is definitely some truth. Yeah. Do you believe in that? There is a little bit truth to every I was just kidding. There is some truth to every I was just kidding. I don't believe in that because I say strange things, as a joke. So if you start thinking there is some truth to them, then I will be in real trouble. Okay. I say a lot of horrible things, or maybe what is that thing? Outrageous things, as jokes. And I don't want to take any responsibility that I've said something that I should be accountable for. When I'm joking, you have to be very open minded with me. Otherwise, you'll say, oh, why did you say that? Why did you say that? So I don't believe that there is truth to I was just kidding. If you're just kidding, you can say anything. You're just kidding. फिर आपका हाल होगा बियर बाइसेप की तरह. I was delighted to hear that my teacher loved the food made by me. I was delighted to. Yes, I have to admit that. Manisha's food was really tasty. Okay, she brought puri and sabji. And guess what, Manisha? It was so good that every person in my family, two, three people ate that. And they all said, yeah, really tasty. Yeah. I brought it home. I did not share it with anybody on the train. My journey was very eventful, both, up and down, both very eventful. So many things happened. I was by myself. Yeah. No, Purva and then Mahananda. Yeah. Okay. Dawn, where were we? Gobi is
It would
okay.
be means how can I say that ये खराब नहीं हुआ था?
No, it didn't it go off? Go off is a very common phrasal verb for food. Okay. Didn't it go off? Didn't it go off by the time you reached home? Didn't it go off? Hi, Aisha. You're saying good evening very late. I said good evening to you the moment you entered. And I also said I'm delighted to have Aisha back in the class. Aisha has all the reasons to think Vanessa is a dishonest person.
Good evening, sir.
Hey, Zafri, tea man, huh? Tea lover, tea lover. He's a tea lover. For tea, he travels distances, long distances with his
Lemon
friends.
tea, sir.
Today it's lemon tea. I love lemon tea as well. Yeah. Lemon tea with a little bit of black pepper. Yeah, amazing. Oh, really? Okay. So maybe I should ask. Oh, my wife isn't home. So who was I texting? Okay.
Sir,
Yes.
didn't it go off when you arrive home?
By the time you reached home, huh? Didn't it go off? खराब नहीं हुआ था घर पहुंचने तक आपके? By the time you reached home, didn't it go off? और अगर आप चाहें past perfect use करना, hadn't it gone off? Hadn't it gone off by the time you reached home? Hadn't it gone off by the time I reached home? Okay, by the time you reached home. So if food goes off, it means it is not fit for consumption. It is
चाहिए
not
टाइम तो सोच दे
okay. If you call food, if you say food has gone off, it means it is not eatable. Yasmin ma'am,
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
what are you wearing today?
Wearing nothing.
Sumi Salwar.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You haven't worn black a lot of times here in the class, have you? I think you only wore black when you were going to that party of yours, reception, sorry, anniversary party. That day you were wearing black.
No, no, sir. It was not black. It was um, violet color, I think.
But it was something very dark.
No, no, sir.
I kind of remember you wearing black that day. But maybe, sometimes, men don't really pay so much attention to these things. I try to change, maybe be a different man, but it's hard. Yeah.
Sir,
How
I
many
have a
people?
question.
Yeah, go on, Samantha.
That their bag is correct or their bags is correct?
You know what, Sumit? Oh, it's a very interesting question, though. Very interesting question. There isn't a correct answer to this. Okay. Think about it. If you say their bags, plural, and if you say their bag, singular, both
Yeah.
can mean two different things. Both can be ambiguous.
And I want to refer to each person holding a bag in the
Exactly.
group.
That's the point I'm saying. There is no solution to this. Okay.
So we can
If you
use both.
say if you say their bags, they put their bags down. They put their bags down.
Bags.
Now, if you say they put their bags down, does it mean each person was holding just one bag? No. Even if they had multiple bags, you would still say the same thing. They put their bags down.
Bags.
Now, if you say they put their bag down, does it mean all of them had just one bag? Because if all of them had just one bag, you would still say the same thing. They put their
Yeah.
bag down. So that's why there is no solution to this confusion. Okay? So just depending on the context, whatever helps you in that situation is your way. But there is no solution to this because in each case, either way, it is what called ambiguous. Either way, it is ambiguous. Whether you use bag, it is still ambiguous. Huh. If you
Got
want to
it.
if you want to make it a little more formal, they put their respective bag down. और हालांकि यहाँ फिर भी बोल सकते हैं रिस्पेक्टिव बैग्स भी बोल सकते हैं they put their respective bags down but again this confusion is something that doesn't have a solution in English because English is that kind of language. Okay, guys, did you understand what Sumit asked? Think of
Correct.
three girls, okay, and each of them has a bag in their hands. Each of them has one bag, okay, in their hands. So the girls put their bags down. The girls put their bags down. The three girls put their bags down. Fine. The situation was each girl had one bag. So the girls put their bags down. Now imagine each girl had 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 bags. And again, we want to say the same thing. The girls put their bags down. So when you hear this sentence, the girls put their bags down, how do you know whether the girls had just one bag with them or multiple? So here comes only one thing to your rescue. What is the case normally in the world? Worldly knowledge, just assume that. They
Sir,
all came with,
however, we will
listen,
use the plural verb if
yes,
this situation.
each of them, okay, they all came with their husbands. They all came with their husbands. Now, what would you assume? Multiple husbands, or each one had just one husband?
Each one
Okay.
had one.
Yeah, because that is the norm in society. That's what will help you. Otherwise, the sentence could mean that as well, though. So the sentence is they came with their husbands. They came with their husbands. It doesn't mean one woman had 2 or 3. They came with their husband. Yes, Sumit, what was your question about the verb?
Sir, so their bags will take plural verb,
Yeah, yeah,
won't
bags.
it?
Yeah, yeah.
And their bag will also
No,
take
no, no,
plural.
no, 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 no. That's what I'm saying. Normally, people go with this, okay? Because understand,
Yeah,
and the verb is plural needed because the noun is plural. If you use the singular noun, how will you use the plural verb? Their bag was or their bag were. What will you say?
their bag
Expensive.
was.
Their bag was expensive. Their bags were expensive. 3 girls had, each of them had a bag with them. Their bags were expensive or their bag was expensive? Their bags
Both are
were,
correct.
no, no, no.
Were
We
Their
will go
expensive.
bags,
with the
yeah,
plural. We will go with the plural. I
Were
said
expensive.
in either way it is
both are,
ambiguous. But
yeah.
this is what people prefer in their day-to-day conversation. Their bags were expensive because you have 3 bags in your mind here.
Hmm.
Their bags were expensive.
Expensive. Their bags
Yeah,
were expensive.
right. We will not say their bag was expensive because, again, we are thinking of 3 bags. However, this sentence can be ambiguous as well. That's what I'm saying. Normally, people use the plural noun because one person's bag, another person's bag, another person's bag. So it becomes bags. Got it? It's a confusion that there has no solution. I know why we are talking about it. I hope you understand, Sumit.
Yes.
There is no perfect solution to this. But yes, the way the world thinks about these things, that will help us a little bit. They came with their husbands. Their husbands were tall, handsome people, men. देखो मैंने दे दिया confusion देखो दोस्तों. They came with their husbands. Their husbands were tall, handsome men. कुछ समझ में आ रहा है?
Yeah.
I'm talking about 2 women or 3 or 4, whatever. They came with their husbands.
Husbands.
Naturally यही रहेगा भैया. They came with their husbands.
Husbands.
They came with their husbands. Agla line, next sentence. Their husbands
Their
were
husbands were all tall.
tall, handsome men. Number 10. Where do you get these confusions, Sumit? I love these questions. Somebody asked me in the class. It just, you know, I mean, it helps the students so much. Everybody benefits from these questions. If they are the guys take interest, appreciate what the question is. Sorry, Zafri, I'm muting you because there are people talking around you. We can hear them. Now, number 10, put the verbs in brackets into the past simple, past continuous, or past perfect. Decide. Number 1, Diane in the Gobi March when
Was
he.
running.
Was running.
And was running in the
Diane
Gobi
was
March
running.
when he met.
Guys, I don't want to check this. I want your answers with me to, send them to me. All your answers, guys, privately. Okay. Yeah, good. Send them. Take a photo.
I already shared it
In the group or privately?
on WhatsApp.
On WhatsApp. Okay. On WhatsApp. All right.
I have sent it on group.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Going to check that later, guys. But do share. Okay. Do share. Not in the group, because some of your classmates are a little lazy. Okay. Before I take you further today, what was the last thing we did? This audio file, 9.8, right? Did we finish it? Or we didn't?
You didn't finish, sir.
We didn't
We
finish it.
didn't.
Okay, let's listen to it then. Nine point eight.
8.
In this audio file, I didn't understand her pronunciation at some points.
Davis.
Somewhere.
Hello and welcome to Book World. This week,
Sorry, Sumit, what did you say? There were so
So
many
I
points,
also,
timestamps where you had problems, right? And you have noted down the timestamps, right? That's called
yes,
hard.
yes.
I appreciate it. This is how I want people to approach things systematically. Okay. As you guys can see in the group, Sumit has written down some timestamps in the audio where he had problems. 0.27, 0.27 seconds, 59 seconds,
Yes.
at 1.53 seconds, at 2.6 seconds, at 2.27 seconds, and 2.30 seconds, 30 seconds. So, guys, I am going to play, and first of all, I'm going to answer all the questions Sumit has asked only because I really appreciate him doing this. Okay. And I encourage everybody to do this. Make timestamps, guys, where you have problems. Share, put it in the group. Okay. Maybe if your friends can help you. Maybe you can help your friends. And then finally, I'll be here in the class helping you. So great job, Sumit.
week in the studio we have Liz Davis from YAP, Young Adult Publishers. Liz, many people get confused about the difference between children's literature and young adult literature. Are they sometimes the same thing?
Yes, they can be. Some of our books are for children as young as 12.
Some of our books, Sumit. Some of our books. Some of our books. Okay. Some of our books. Please. That was the phrase, Sumit, you wanted help with?
No, sir. The line it will come straight.
Your first timestamp is 27 seconds, which has passed.
I had put the time stamp a little bit ahead.
Okay, let's see.
12, and they aren't very different from other children's books.
Do let me know where the problem is then.
Okay.
But many of the
Here I
novels
am
we
not.
publish,
Here I do not have problem.
reason subjects in those are not what you usually find, and they aren't very different from other children.
I will encourage people to be more precise with timestamps. It would help me, okay? Help you better. Yeah. Okay. If you guys keep this timestamp precise that at this moment, when it's easy. You know what time it is in the audio file where you have problems, okay?
Books. But many of the novels we publish are for 15 to 18-year-olds, and the stories and subjects in those are not what you usually find in children's literature. They're,
Are not
more
taught easily.
So now we are at around 41 seconds, Sumit.
Okay, so from 39 seconds, sir, I have got that when she said, sir, most of these books are not taught easily, or whatever
Okay.
it was, I didn't get.
Okay,
Let me
39.
find.
Yes. Tani? You're saying something, Tani?
I wrote down, sir, but somewhere I have little confusion, sir.
I'm saying, ideally, you should write down the timestamp in the audio.
more adult.
No,
Now,
I
children's
wrote,
literature...
Go on, Tani. Go on.
I wrote down all the 9.8
Audio script?
audio.
Okay,
Yes.
well, listen. Listening to sometimes what happens, people write down the audio script the wrong way. Okay, it
No,
doesn't
sir.
help that much. Well, let me tell you what I'm asking you all to do.
Yeah.
Let me explain, Tani. Let me explain. I want you guys to listen to the audio file several times, okay? And figure out, those parts in the audio where you have problems, you don't understand. Write down the timestamp, okay? Timestamp, you understand, Tani? the time in the audio where you have problems. Write it down somewhere and come to the class. For the rest, you should have no problems. If you have problems in bigger parts, you can write down that as well. That I don't understand from 30 seconds to 1 minute, 30 seconds, I don't understand what they're saying. Okay?
Okay.
Yasmin ma'am, you have sent your answers to me here. I want these answers either on WhatsApp or to me privately on Telegram, okay? Because when the meeting is over, I will not have the chat saved, okay? That's why.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Is very big.
Guys, I want to let you know, I'm not checking those things right now because I want to go through your individual answers, okay? I want to see how many of your answers right, what confusions you have, and so that later I can help you individually.
Business at the moment.
Well, more adult. They're literature. They're children's literature. They're, well, more adult.
Now, children's literature is very big business.
Publisher for 15 to 18-year-olds, and the stories and subjects in those are not what you usually find in children's literature. They're, well, more adult.
Now,
Any problems?
Yes, sir. The stories and literature found in those books.
Stories and
What did they
subjects
say
goes
after
on.
that?
Okay.
They're, and the stories and subjects in those are not what you usually find in children's literature.
Are
not usually what you find in children's literature.
not usually what you find.
Yeah.
Publisher for 15 to 18-year-olds, and the stories and subjects in those are not what you
And the stories and subjects in those are usually not what you
usually find in children's literature.
got it. You don't find those things in children's literature. The stories and subjects are not something that you usually find in children's literature.
They're, well, more adult.
Now, children's literature is very big business at the moment. Is that because of the recent popularity of young adult fiction?
No, not really. We're in a golden age of children's literature for all ages right now. And it isn't the first golden age. There have been 3. The first came in the 19th century with the earliest fantasy books for children. Alice in Wonderland and Peter Pan were the first novels where ordinary children had adventures in a magical world.
Adventures. Everybody, adventures.
Till then, children's books had been quite serious and educational, hadn't they?
Oh, yes. People thought children's stories should teach them morals. They were about children getting into dangerous situations in life because they behaved badly, and only the well-behaved children managed to escape. There's a lovely story called The Storyteller by a writer called Saki, which makes fun of this idea.
And when was the second golden age?
In the 1950s. There'd been the Second World War and the atomic bomb, and a lot of children's stories were now more serious, about saving the world from evil. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings is a good example. And
Okay, these are names of books, nah? Sumit, is that the point? Is that your question here? The name that she said?
No, sir. I do not remember exactly, sir, because it's been 2 days. I
So
think
now
right
you're
now I'm
listening.
understanding.
Now you're listening to. Now you're listening to it. So you have problems, you can stop and say, sir,
No, sir.
in this.
No, sir.
C.S. Lewis's The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. It's not just the children in the story that are in
So
danger.
what I'm going to do now, I'm going to play line by line, explain everything, okay, where I left last time, in our last class.
And they aren't very different from other children's books. But many of the novels we publish are for 15 to 18-year-olds, and the stories and subjects in those are not what you usually find in children's literature. They're, well, more adult.
Stories and subjects in those are not usually what you find in children's literature. They are more adult. Okay, so young adult literature has subjects and stories which are more adult in nature.
Now, children's literature is very big business at the
Now, children's literature is a very big business
moment.
at the moment.
Is that because of the recent popularity of young adult fiction?
Is that because of the recent popularity of young adult literature?
No, not really.
No,
We're
not because of that.
in a golden age of children's literature
We are in a golden age of children's literature
for all ages right
for all ages.
now. And it isn't the first golden age.
And it isn't the first golden age, okay?
There have been three.
There have been three golden ages.
The first came in the 19th century.
The first came in 19th century, in the 19th century.
With the earliest fantasy books for children.
The earliest fantasy books for children.
Alice in Wonderland and
Alice in Wonderland was a fantasy book. Alice in Wonderland was a fantasy book. Fantasy. You understand what fantasy is when you understand Alice in the Wonderland was a fantasy book.
Peter Pan were the first novels.
Peter Pan was also a fantasy novel. Peter Pan, if you have read.
Where ordinary children had adventures in a magical world.
Where ordinary children had adventures in magical worlds.
And until then, children's books had been quite serious and educational.
Until then means before that time, before fantasy literature came in the 19th century, children's literature used to be very serious.
Educational, hadn't they?
Oh, yes. People thought magical world.
And until then, children's books had been quite serious and educational.
Quite serious and educational. Until then, children's literature, children's books had been quite serious and educational. So guys, in the 19th century, there was a change in children's literature. People started writing fantasy novels, fantasy books, where children like Alice go in a magical world and have fun. They have adventures there. Peter Pan. Until then, children's literature was more serious in nature and it was more educational in nature. Okay, so far so good?
Hadn't they?
Oh, yes. People thought children's stories should teach them morals.
People thought children's stories should teach them morals. People thought that children's literature, children's stories should teach them morals. We still believe that, actually, in today's times. Okay, in the 21st century, in small towns like in Bihar Sharif and many places, people still believe in many developing worlds that children's morality come from the stories they listen to. You know why they believe so? I will tell you. I'm going to be a little, straightforward here, because we have lazy children, because we have slow children, because we don't have intelligent children. Intelligent children are always stamped as indisciplined in our society. Intelligent children have bad reputation in our society. Only if intelligent children have a very submissive personality. Submissive means, you understand? Someone who surrenders easily. Okay? Someone who can be bullied easily, submissive. Then teachers appreciate them. A lot of intelligent children don't have submissive personalities because that is not very common combination. When you are clever, with cleverness comes other things as well. Intelligence comes other things as well. And that's why they are difficult to discipline. They break rules. They use their intelligence to do silly things. And parents and teachers don't like it. So there is always a conflict going on, Parents think that we should tell children stories which will make them morally correct. Teach them lessons, stories which will have a moral lesson there. Do right. Okay. This is going to be interesting.
We're about children getting into dangerous situations in life. Stories should teach them morals.
People thought that children's stories should teach them morals. People thought that children's stories should teach them morals. Don't you see the same things happening even today? A lot of parents say, "Arey bachcho ko achhi kahani sunao taki unke, they will learn good manners, good things, good lessons, morals."
They were about children getting into danger.
They were about children getting into dangers. Those stories were about children getting into dangerous situations.
Dangerous situations in life because they
had been bad, because they behaved badly. They had behaved badly, so they got into situations.
Behaved badly.
Don't we say this to our children even today? That, hey, you're not acting properly. You're not behaving yourself. You will get in trouble. Budhwa aayega, le jayega. Okay, the boogeyman will come and take you with him. We try and discipline children, scare them saying these things. Sometimes it works. With intelligent children, it doesn't work, because intelligent children start to see patterns faster than other children. One or two times you say these things, they understand, okay, and then they stop. My nephew Aryan is a clever boy, but again, like I said, it's difficult to discipline him because he's so clever.
And only the well-behaved children manage to escape.
And only well-behaved children manage to escape. In those stories, who escaped from those bad situations, difficult situations, dangerous
Only the
situations?
well-behaved.
Well-behaved children. And there is a message: be well-behaved so that you can escape bad situations in life. Now, average children will say, yes, Papa, you are right.
Lovely story called The Storyteller by a writer called
There is a
Saki.
lovely story called The Storyteller. There is a story called The Storyteller. What is the story called? The Storyteller. And it is by a writer called,
which makes fun of
Saki. This story, The Storyteller, is by a writer called Saki. And in this story, he has made fun of this idea that if you are well behaved, then good things will happen to you and you will escape bad situations because you are well behaved.
Idea.
Okay, so tell me, how many people believe even today? I know मैं बहुत मुश्किल में आता हूँ ये सब पढ़ाते समय. I get in real trouble because आप में से कई अभी भी उसी सोच में रहेंगे, तो मेरे साथ तो आर्ग्यूमेंट होएगा, but I'm okay with that. Let's see. How many of you still believe that, well-behaved children get out of trouble more easily because they are well-behaved, and badly behaved children, badly behaved, I'm saying. I'm not saying dull children, I'm not saying stupid children. I'm saying badly behaved children get in bigger troubles and they find it hard to get out of them, get out of those dangerous situations. Do you think your being badly behaved or well-behaved has any connection with how you deal with the situation? Or your intelligence has anything to do with that? When you get in trouble, suppose there is a child, bullying you at school. So how you will handle that bullying? Does it have anything to do with your being well-behaved or badly behaved? A little bit. Again, you guys surrendered. Many of you. You didn't apply your mind. A little bit. If you're a nice child, then more people will try and come to your support, that you have never been bad. But if you are somebody who troubles other people, then maybe they will not show their sympathy to you. They will say, you also do the same. So it is happening to you? Fine, good. Tell me it is not true. That happens or not. This is how people behave sometimes. Tell me.
Yes.
Why did you all agree that, yeah, it has nothing to do? Yes, it has something to do. I'm just trying to tell you how easy it is to influence you, to make you say what karma. I'm coming to that, Aisha. I will make you, I just wanted to highlight, I wanted to show you how easy it is to get the answer I want from you, not something that you want to say. You guys will go left if I want you to go left. You guys will go right if I want you to go right. That is how you are. Impressionable. And maybe not me, some other people will do the same to you. But remember, your parents don't want you to be so gullible, so impressionable. Gullible means also the same. Someone who believes anything that people say. I said that your being well-behaved has nothing to do with it. What was my example? Somebody is bullying you. If you're an innocent child who never troubles anybody and you are being bullied, anybody finds out about it, are they not going to come to your support because you are a nice child? People are more likely to support you, saying, hey, you never trouble anybody, you are so well behaved. Why would somebody bother you? But if you have a reputation for being bad, for being indisciplined, then don't you think some people will say, yeah, it's good for you that you are experiencing it, maybe. It is possible or not? It is likely that you will get this reaction or not. Now, let's change the situation. So there can be a different kind of bad situation, a dangerous situation, where you are being kidnapped by somebody. Now, whether you are well-behaved or badly behaved, how does it matter? How you get out of that situation? Somebody has kidnapped you. Do you think you are, just because you have been a very virtuous, well-behaved child, The kidnappers are going to show sympathy and say, okay, go, because you have been so well behaved. Do you think that will happen at all?
Not at all.
So you'll have to use your intelligence to get out of it. Tell me, life throws real difficult challenges. I mean, you guys have already reached 20, you have experienced so many problems, challenges. How did you come out of them? Because of your virtues or because of your intelligence? What helped you?
Intelligent.
Majority of the difficult situations that you are part of, your intelligence, your imagination, your ability to find out the right solution helps you get out of them. Whether you have been a liar or you have been a truth speaker all the time, whether you have stolen your friends' pens, or you have never stolen their pens, has nothing to do with these things. Okay, so this writer called Saki made fun of this idea. Which idea, guys? That well-behaved children get out of bad situations, dangerous situations, because of their good behavior, and badly behaved children suffer because of their bad behavior. And dear Aisha, you use the word karma. So I want to say this. In this world, a lot of statements are cliche statements. Cliche, things that people continue using. Upar wala dekh raha hai. Common line, okay? One more very common sentence people use. Good things happen to good people. Bad things never happen to good people. Now, I have heard this line so many times, and every time somebody says this in front of me, I say, are you really serious? You have not seen good people suffer in this world so badly? Tell me, do you believe in this? I'm asking you all of you here. Do you think bad things don't happen to good people? Bad things don't happen to good people?
It does happen.
No, sir.
Good things don't happen to bad people? Bad things happen to bad people? Isn't there a sentence? अच्छे के साथ अच्छा होता है?
No, sir.
How often have people said this to you? Or in front of you? What did you say to them? Did you smile and say, yes, you're right? Or did you say, are you serious? Because of my job, sometimes I have to smile, and I feel really bad about it. But the reality is, it is not true. It is stupid to believe that bad things don't happen to good people. Yeah, that's okay, Aisha. That's okay, beta. I'm just saying, that what will happen to you has nothing to do with your goodness and badness. A lot of things in life are unpredictable. You're crossing the road, you might be hit by a truck out of control or a bike rider who is riding very fast. Whether you were badly behaved or well behaved, whether your father was an honest person or dishonest person, has nothing to do with this accident that will happen. It will have no bearing. It never had. But people still say these things. Somebody was diagnosed with cancer. Now, do you think that person has done something bad? That's why they got cancer, because a lot of people don't have cancer. Cancer is such a curse. I mean, people suffer so much. Mostly they pay the price by, with their lives. They die. Some people manage to survive, but the suffering is immense because of cancer. Now, what do you think? Cancer happens to bad people?
No, sir.
Not only bad.
Then I would say Yuvraj was very bad.
Every people, sir.
It can happen to anybody. It can happen.
Anybody.
It can happen to anybody. It's a fact. It can happen to anybody. No matter how, okay, listen, some people will say, if your lifestyle is good, really? Ask doctors. Do they say that if your lifestyle is good, cancer will not happen? Yes. I'm not saying that if you chew tobacco, then that you definitely have a bigger risk of throat cancer and other cancer, But it is not that if you have been running, eating healthy, then you will never have cancer or you will not have cancer. Sometimes you can, increase your chances of getting cancer by living a very reckless lifestyle. But cancer can happen to anybody. The most disciplined lifestyle, people with the most disciplined lifestyle can also have cancer. So please don't say bad things only happen to bad people and bad things don't happen to good people. There is nothing called karma. Anybody who believes in karma, that because your actions are good, so you will get good rewards, I don't agree. It is not the case in this world. Look around. Corrupt people are enjoying power and money. Hardworking people are unable to pay the bills for their children's education. And you believe that this world is a fair place? Good things happen to good people, bad things happen to bad people? Karma returns? What are you talking about? Yes, Aisha, I know. A lot of people talk about karma. A lot of people, okay? And they're very serious. So I asked them, Kushi, I know what's going on. You think it's an unnecessary conversation, so you might be doing something on your mobile phone.
I'm just clicking my photos. I don't know.
Yeah, I was right that
I
you are
like
holding.
clicking my photos.
Right. Now,
Sorry.
it is my good behavior or bad behavior that I guess that Kushi was using her phone, guys. It is just my intelligence. Come on. When people have their mobile phone with them, their bodies slouches a little bit, their head goes down in a certain direction, at a certain angle, and I noticed all those things. I said that you are using your phone, although it was not clear on the camera. So, participate in the discussion. Okay, this is a language class. All this discussion, exposure.
I'm listening.
I know you were, but not with all your attention because you are on your phone. Multitasking is impossible when you are in a language class.
Because it's a special dinner today and I'm sitting here.
Kushi, you have to set your priorities right. Understand? Very, very important it is for you. Okay, if it is really necessary, go buy it. Okay, place your order. I'm not stopping you. All right. So, can you guys tell me one thing or two things that you often hear people say as a rule, as a fact, but you know it very well it is not true. And everybody should see it. But still people somehow go on believing it. Things which are
People
not
say
logical.
hard work will pays off.
Hard work pays off.
Hard work
Photo don't
pays
have
off,
gone, sir.
but
Well,
sometimes it doesn't.
okay, Kushi, you know what? I I think it is true actually. Hard work pays off when you're talking about developing skills. Okay? If you guys are spending time learning to play the guitar, you may not become the world's best player, but you do become better than what you were when you started. So hard work pays. Now, what are you expecting it to pay in terms of? That is the question. Do you want a certain post for that hard work? Maybe not granted. Okay, you will not get it. But you will get better than what you were doing what you did. So hard work pays, whether you work hard in education, studies, or work hard in the fields, wherever. Things will definitely change because of hard work. This world is what it is today because of hard work. It was all a jungle. People were living in the caves. Do you think all these buildings and all these things have just sprung up? No, people have created them with their hard work.
People say luck matter.
Luck. Now, luck is something that is just a vocabulary thing. Coincidences happen, no doubt. Some people, instead of using the word coincidence, use the word luck, good luck and bad luck. You are very well prepared for your exam. You're on the way and your car has an accident or your bus has an accident. You end up in a hospital rather than in the exam hall. Now, what would you call it? A bad coincidence? Some people will call it bad luck. Why should I quarrel with them just because of another word they're using? But it is exactly the same, right? It was just a bad coincidence. You did not prepare hard. Okay, you did not work hard, you didn't study hard, you studied 5-6 questions.
And
Coincidentally,
those 5
3 of those
questions came
questions were
in
asked
exam.
in the exam. Now you get good marks. A stroke of good luck, you call it. It's just a coincidence that those questions, the examiner thought of those questions, the same question that you studied. Again, you can call it good luck. So coincidences happen all the time. Just like you break a glass, in your kitchen by mistake, that's also a coincidence, not a good luck thing or a bad luck thing. It happens. Things happen like this unpredictably. So this writer called Saki made fun of this idea that well-behaved children do well in life and badly behaved children suffer in life, get in dangerous situations, fail to get out of them.
And when was the second golden age?
In the 1950s.
When was the second golden age? In the 1950s.
There'd been the Second World War and the atomic bomb, and a lot of children's stories were now more serious about saving the world from evil.
So what happens? The events that take place in the world also affect the literature, impact the literature, right? So after the Second World War, children's literature also changed. Now there were stories where the world was in danger and there were saviors. Small children tried to save the world.
Tolkien's Lord of the Rings is a good example, and C.S. Lewis's The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. It's not just the children in the story that are in danger, it's everything.
It's not the children who are in danger in these stories. In earlier, golden age, the children were in danger. They were having adventures, right? This time, in the second golden period, golden age of children's literature, it was the whole world that was in danger, not just the children themselves. It was the whole world that was in danger.
And isn't that true of a more recent example of young adult fiction, the Harry Potter series?
Yes, although I'm not sure it's correct to call the Harry Potter books young adult fiction.
The woman disagrees with calling Harry Potter books young adult literature. Why?
They were the first children's books that people of all ages read.
Okay, they were actually children's literature which people of all ages read. For the first time it happened. Somebody wrote such children's literature that people of all ages enjoyed reading.
From the very young to the very old.
From the very young to the very old. All of them enjoyed reading. Such was the, skills of who? What was the name of that lady who wrote Harry Potter?
J.K. Rowling.
J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling.
It's only the later Harry Potters, when the children become teenagers, that are more like young adult literature.
So later, when Harry Potter perhaps grows up a little bit, the characters become teenagers, then the stories become a little young adult literature. Otherwise, initially they were supposed to be just children's literature.
But they're still not typical examples because...
And still, they were not typical examples of young adult literature.
They're all about the problems of using magic.
Because they were all about using the problem of magic, or they were about magic, yes.
Modern young adult novels are usually about the ordinary, everyday problems.
Modern young adult literature is about everyday problems that teenagers face, like love, relationship, drugs, pressure.
Problems that teenagers experience.
So the stories aren't set in fantasy worlds anymore?
So the stories aren't set in fantasy world anymore? No, whenever you write a story, a novel, the stories are set in certain background. The stories are not set in the fantasy world anymore.
No, not so much.
Not so much.
Some are. The Hunger Games books, for
Some are still set in fantasy worlds.
example. But most young adult literature is set in the very real world that teenagers live in.
Too real for some parents.
Most young adult literature stories are set in the real world, not in the fantasy world. Then the man says, too real for some parents.
Yes, that's true.
It means what? Some parents think that teenagers should not read about such a stuff. Too real. Real world is ugly. Do you understand that, guys? Real world is ugly. Talk to a police inspector who has seen some real cases of how human beings can be so bad, what kind of things they can do. I mean, we guys are shielded, we are protected from that kind of news. Now that we have this internet and stuff, all sorts of news, all sorts of videos reach us. But there was a time, for a long time, common people like me and you were saved, were shielded, were protected from all bad news. um, how many bad news stories have you read or have you heard about? Lots of murder cases, murders happen every day. Lots of rapes happen every day. But do you read about them all every day? No. So unless something really bad happens, you don't get to know about them. So the real world issues are very, very ugly. And young adult people, they normally, earlier, they were not exposed to those. But today, what's happening? In their stories, in young adult literature, you have stories, subjects which are about the problems of these teenagers, young adults in the real life, in the real world. And what is that? Relationship problems. Okay, tell me, is early pregnancy, in teenage girls, a real challenge or not in today's world?
Yes.
It is
It
catching up.
is.
It is catching up pretty fast in Asian societies as well. Do you know that, yeah, school going children, high school going children are sexually active? They are using their school places for their adventures. Do you know that? It is a reality today. Now, if there is a book talking about it, then the parents will say, "What nonsense are you reading about?" Obviously. But this is a reality. And you think, again, by not letting your children know about it, you can protect them? Just because they do not know about it? It is our own insecurity as parents. If the children know, they have a good sense of value, okay? If they know what is good for them, what is bad for them, if they have been trained properly, they will know everything, and still they will make the right decision. Actually, knowing all these things will help them understand why they should not engage in certain behavior. Yes or no? Tell me, those girls who are 13, 14, 15, 16 years of age and accidentally, unknowingly become pregnant, do you think their parents educated them on how they should behave, or society or school educated them? That's why they got in this trouble? Or because they were not educated, that's why they got in this trouble? You know how it can impact a girl's life. America is an example where this is happening so much. And now this is moving out of America to Asian societies. Again, there are reels about them. I watched that reel some days ago where a boy makes a phone, is in front of his parents, and is saying, "You know that girl in the neighborhood XYZ?" "Yeah, what?" Then suddenly he receives a phone call from that girl, and she says, "Oh, my periods have come." And then he makes a joke. I lost her book, so I have to buy her book, so I need some money. You saw that reel? So what's going on? What's going on? It was part of a series or something, I guess. Okay. So these things are happening. Keeping your eyes closed is not going to solve the problem. You have to just educate your children. Aisha, I can understand saying bad parenting to a certain extent, beta, okay? To a certain extent. If you if you only blame the parents for this situation, then it is like finding a fall guy, okay? Whenever there is a bad situation, beta, we all want somebody that we can blame for that situation, And that is what happens in rape cases as well, We blame that person who does it only. There are so many other factors. If you study deeply, then you will realize there are so many factors at play, and you need to be, again, informed, educated, intelligent to understand these things and the complications of these things fully. Okay. So Guys, continue, listen to that audio file. We have to wrap up because it is 8:35 now, and we will start at the same time, 7:30, 7:25, okay? 25 minutes later than our usual time because of the, the month of Ramzan. The previous class timing has changed rather. That's why I have to do this here with your class as well. Do listen to the audio, okay? And I'll check out your answers and I will give you the feedback, okay? Bye. Take care, guys.
Bye, sir. Good night.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
sir.
Nice.
Good night.
Bye-bye. Good night. Bye-bye.